When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
Heard the rumor that Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston had an affair that ended his marriage? People that I respect, some that I even love, who may or may not watch this show.
Welcome to Fame Drop, where the tea spills. Was Barack Obama's presidency a polished dream or a carefully staged show hiding way more than we were ever supposed to see? That's the firestorm burning up online right now, with old rumors getting dragged back into the spotlight, louder and bolder than ever. And guess who threw gasoline on it? None other than Katt Williams. In a now viral comedy bit, Katt didn't just crack jokes, he straight up peeled the mask off. While most folks were still clapping for Obama's smooth style and picture-perfect poise, Katt was flipping the script. He didn't hold back, calling Obama a white-friendly black man, a made-for-TV figure designed to charm middle America, not someone real from the blocks he claimed to know. That wasn't just stand-up, it was a straight-up mic drop. And yeah, people laughed, but the message underneath hit hard. Was Obama just a symbol, polished to perfection, or was he crafted, manufactured to play a specific part in a much bigger game?
So the Bidens and the Obamas hate each other because Michelle Obama is very good friends with Hunter Biden's ex-wife. So that's led to a significant problem where they don't like Hunter, and if you don't like Hunter, Joe doesn't like you. So I would not be surprised if Holmes is right on with this of like, oh, well, why don't we do this?
It's like, oh man, you give us problems, maybe you can have a problem.
Katt went deeper too. He hinted at something heavier, cultural engineering. Like, was Obama's rise to power more about keeping things in line than shaking anything up? That once inspiring presidency? Maybe it wasn't about real change at all, but about keeping people calm while the game got flipped behind closed doors. And now, years later, that punchline doesn't feel like a joke anymore. It's starting to sound like a warning. Look around. America's still picking up the pieces from the Obama era. And one fight that's heating up fast is all about schools and the push for LGBTQ mentors.
I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
But it ain't just about who's mentoring. It's about why. What kind of values were set in motion back when Obama was calling the shots? Some say it's no coincidence. Critics have long accused Obama of pushing what they called a pro-homosexuality agenda. Yeah, that's a loaded phrase, but it's still being thrown around like a grenade in political circles. Under his watch, LGBTQ visibility exploded. From rainbow lights shining on the White House to sweeping federal protections, moves that were either long overdue or way too far, depending on who you ask. Now here we are, fast forward to today, and classrooms are caught in the crossfire. It's not just about teaching kids inclusion, it's about selecting mentors based specifically on their LGBTQ identity. People are asking, is this really about representation, or are kids being pulled into something way deeper without even knowing it? Was this shift natural, or was it set in motion on purpose years ago? And just when things couldn't get any wilder, boom, comes one of the wildest street interviews ever caught on camera. Joan Rivers, no filter, no hesitation. Weeks before a routine throat surgery turned deadly, Rivers casually said what she claimed was common knowledge. We already have a homosexual president. She didn't blink. Then she added, you know Michelle is a transgender. Just like that, the reaction, total chaos. Some laughed it off, others freaked out, but a quiet group leaned in closer. Joan didn't flinch. She didn't joke. When asked to explain, she stood firm with this icy calm vibe. A transgender. We all know. But who is we all? What did she mean by that? And what gave her the guts to say it so openly, like it was just another fact on the street? Let's get real. Joan Rivers was never shy about stirring the pot. She roasted everyone. No group was off limits, and she wore her network bands like medals. But even for Joan, this moment was different, way different. These weren't jokes about bad outfits or botched celebrity facelifts. This time, she went for the jugular, aiming straight at the carefully polished image of the Obamas.
I mean, there's, not to add insult to injury, but there's a Daily Mail report out today saying Kamala Harris's marriage may be on the rocks. Like everybody's on the rocks. Again, I will say I love the Daily Mail, but the sourcing appeared weak. It was like people who know the couple, but like, I don't know if it's any better than that, but they're saying she's blaming him in part for her loss because he turned out to be such a hot mess liability. You buy it?
And then, less than 2 months later, she was gone. Not from old age, not from anything you'd expect, but from a routine medical procedure that went horribly sideways. Reports say her oxygen levels crashed, her vitals dropped fast. and no one stepped in on time. Was this just a tragic coincidence, or is there a darker explanation lurking in the shadows? Theories erupted online. Conspiracy sleuths started whispering. Was Joan silenced for saying too much? Some believe she let a secret slip, and someone made sure she'd never spill more. Adding fuel to this theory, the clinic later admitted fault, paying out a malpractice settlement to her daughter Melissa.
At all, but if it is true, it truly would be a political earthquake in
Yes.
Democrat circles. Never mind America. I don't remember a presidential divorce in modern history.
Even worse, reports say parts of the procedure Joan received were not authorized in writing. The Obamas were, of course, never linked to her death, officially or otherwise. In fact, Obama even sent Melissa a personal condolence letter, praising Joan's sharp wit and intelligence. To most, that looked like class, but to others, it smelled like subtle damage control. And Joan wasn't the only one throwing bombs at Obama's image. Enter Larry Sinclair, a convicted con man, sure, but one who refuses to go away. He resurfaced with wild claims about a late 90s encounter with Obama involving drugs, the kind that rhymes with Cain, and a not-so-platonic night. Credible? Not in court, but the timing of his return made eyebrows shoot up everywhere.
Gotta spend a minute on the Obamas because there seems to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. All right, I'm gonna bring you what I know.
Tucker Carlson handed Sinclair the mic. Online threads exploded, and suddenly Joan's words didn't sound so far-fetched to some. The chatter only grew louder because this isn't just about Obama anymore. It's about what legacy he left behind. Did the LGBTQ mentorship debate pop up out of nowhere? Or was it a decade-long buildup planted during his time in office? Was this really the hope and change everyone signed up for? Or was there fine print nobody read? And just as people debated that, more whispers surfaced, rumors claiming Barack and Michelle aren't living like a couple anymore. Michelle skipping events like Trump's inauguration and Carter's funeral only poured gasoline on that fire, with some saying she's just done faking it. So what happens when all these rumors start connecting? When Joan's final explosive interviews stop looking like jokes and start feeling like confessions? People start asking not if the Obamas have secrets, but how deep do those secrets go? Here's what's fueling the obsession now. It's not just what Joan said, it's how she said it. Calm, matter of fact, like it was something everybody already knew but chose to ignore. When pressed, she didn't laugh or wink. She just dropped the line. It's okay, it's not a bad thing. Then walked away. No punchline, no smirk, just silence.
Barack is, there is no truth.
There is
It
no
untrue.
truth.
You know Barack Obama.
I've met him once.
Met him once.
I know Michelle more than him.
What is there a truth about you and Michelle that we should know?
That is not.
Could Joan's untimely death, coming weeks after that on-camera bombshell, be more than a random tragedy? What did she know? And what if her so-called jokes were warnings hiding in plain sight? The deeper you dig into her final hours, the stranger it gets. Federal health officials revealed that the clinic handling her procedure was not prepared for complications. They bypassed protocols that should have been automatic. Her anesthesia dose, higher than normal. Her vitals, dropping for minutes before anyone stepped in. And here's the kicker. Reports say they even performed a procedure she hadn't signed for. This was Joan Rivers, a global icon, right in the middle of New York City. How do so many red flags get ignored in a place like that? How likely is it for someone this famous to die from an avoidable mistake?
She is not sorry.
They are looking forward. All the women in your life are
all
looking
the women
forward.
in my life are looking forward to being able to, live a more normal life.
Yeah, but still not entirely normal. Obviously, everybody's under the microscope at all
A little
times.
bit more.
And you're staying in Washington, D.C., which is unusual for an exiting president.
So soon after rattling the cages of one of America's most powerful couples. Maybe we're just connecting dots that aren't there. Or maybe we aren't. Because when someone as loud, sharp, and fearless as Joan suddenly goes silent under murky circumstances, it's impossible not to wonder, did her mouth cost her more than a career move? And what else was she about to reveal? She already declared Obama our first homosexual president and bluntly said, Michelle is a transgender, we all know. Not believe, not think. She said no. Then, nothing. Just silence. Unanswered questions still linger. Who let an unlicensed doctor snap selfies with her while she was unconscious? Why did the surveillance footage from the clinic suddenly vanish? And how does a simple outpatient visit spiral into a fatal catastrophe with nobody facing criminal charges? But here's the thing, it's not just about Joan. This rabbit hole dives deeper, straight into the bright lights of Hollywood. Because if Obama wasn't just a political figure, but also a cultural architect, then maybe his true influence wasn't in Washington, it was in the entertainment world. Over the years, we've seen movies, TV, and music go through a rapid shift. Stories once considered niche suddenly dominating the mainstream. Inclusion didn't just become the norm, it turned into a mandatory Hollywood checklist. Wrapped in glitter and waving rainbow flags, the entertainment industry jumped headfirst into a wave of progressive storytelling.
For instance, like this is a magazine that came out a couple of weeks ago, In Touch, said the truth about Jen and Barack. That is,
That's kind of, that was, of all the calls you get from your...
But now, some insiders are asking the question out loud. Was it all natural, or was it carefully planned from the jump? And one name keeps bubbling up in the middle of this media puzzle: Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, that Jennifer. At first, nobody could believe it. Aniston and Obama? The pairing sounded straight out of a clickbait headline, but the tabloids couldn't resist. They went wild with it. Allegations flew that the two were linked beyond their media interests. Gossip mags tossed out spicy headlines. Late-night hosts ran with the jokes. And eventually, Aniston had to address it herself, live on Jimmy Kimmel. Her words? Absolutely untrue. She said she'd only met Barack once and actually knows Michelle better. It sounded like a full shutdown, but it didn't kill the noise. Even with the quote on tape, the story didn't fade. It morphed. People stopped asking, are they a couple? And started wondering something way more intriguing. Was there another reason these two top-tier public figures were being linked in the first place? Maybe it wasn't romance. Maybe it was strategy. Since leaving the White House, Obama stayed busy, real busy. Through his company, Higher Ground Productions, he inked major deals with Netflix and other streaming giants. Not to run for office again, but to shape the stories people consume. Jennifer Aniston, with her squeaky clean image and successful Apple TV run, fits perfectly into this picture. She's got pull, she's got trust, and she's got audience loyalty. Pair her influence with Obama's political legacy, that's a powerful combo. So is it wild to think their connection, real or crafted, could be part of a bigger play? When trust is currency, Obama and Aniston are sitting on a gold mine. And when you realize stories shape culture, values, and even elections, it makes sense that someone would want that kind of influence coming from the screen, not the podium.
She's doing great in the school she currently attends, and our attitude is that if you have a teenager and you really want to make sure that they never talk to you again, then pull them out of high school right in the middle.
Yeah, you're right.
Of sophomore year. So look, they've made so many sacrifices.
They have, and they didn't get to decide that.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that they get.
And here's the part that's making people sweat. If Obama's presidency was Act 1, could Hollywood be Act 2? No more speeches, no more votes, just subtle shifts through TV scripts and movie scenes. A generation raised on binge-worthy series might not even realize how often political ideas are folded into their entertainment until it's too late. So was it a coincidence that shows pushing progressive themes took over primetime right after Obama exited the White House? Or were those ideals waiting in the wings, ready to shine under the right lights with the right faces? Several insiders, from producers to scriptwriters, have hinted off the record that Obama's hand reaches farther into Tinseltown than most people know. From green-lighting certain narratives to suggesting casting decisions, some believe he's quietly helping steer the culture ship. And it's not just whispers. People are noticing patterns. Projects with loud social messages, they seem to breeze through the awards circuit, go viral online, and rake in glowing reviews, even when audiences feel lukewarm. It's like some kind of unspoken pipeline from the White House to Hollywood's writers' rooms.
And for me, going high is not losing the urgency or the passion or the rage, especially when you are justified in it. Mm-hmm. Going high means finding the purpose in your rage. Mm-hmm. You know, rage without reason, without a plan, without direction is just more rage.
Maybe it's all just coincidence, or maybe it's the soft power play of the decade. Obama switching out policy for plot lines, using streaming platforms instead of press conferences, and building influence through characters instead of campaigns. Because when it comes to controlling culture, who really needs a seat in Congress when you've got everyone's screen time on lock? And if the man pulling the strings just so happens to be a former president, armed with a production company, a streaming empire, and a global fan base, well, that wouldn't exactly be a first, would it? History's full of soft power bending reality behind the scenes. And while folks were busy binging shows or scrolling feeds, something else was bubbling under the surface: the rumors. And they're not slowing down, they're evolving. Talk of divorce, hints of political friction, public appearances with Michelle noticeably missing. The chatter hit a new level when she skipped huge moments like Trump's inauguration and even Jimmy Carter's funeral. People noticed, and body language experts started dissecting those rare moments when Barack and Michelle did show up together. Something felt off. Then came the podcast Bombshell, not from a shady blog or a tinfoil hat subreddit, but from Washington insiders with real political ties. They casually dropped the claim that the Obamas aren't even living together anymore. It wasn't shouted from the rooftops, it was whispered. And sometimes, whispers hit harder. Just as the noise reached fever pitch, a name from the past crawled back into the conversation: Larry Sinclair. His allegations, nearly forgotten and long dismissed, suddenly re-entered the spotlight. The story? That he and Obama had a wild, drug-fueled encounter in the back of a limo on a cold night in Chicago, way back in 1999, before Obama was even on the national radar. Yeah, the tale is raw, specific, and straight up scandalous. And yes, Sinclair has a rap sheet and flunked a polygraph.
Look at that and go,
no, it is not.
No?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, you know, the thing about what I learned in those 8 years is that home is where we make it. And we were in the White House for 8 years, but it wasn't the house. It was us in it. It was our values and our love for each other. And we just moved that to another house. So.
But here's the part people can't stop side-eyeing: the timing. Why now? Why resurface right as Obama's cultural influence seems to be peaking again? What really makes this twist hit different isn't just Sinclair's story. It's the idea that there might be whole chapters of Obama's early life that have been carefully wiped, scrubbed, or sealed shut. Mainstream outlets slammed the door on the allegations fast. No follow-ups, no investigations, no fact-checking frenzy, just silence. And now people are asking, was it all just fake news? Or did someone decide the truth, whatever it is, was too risky to let breathe? When media machines move that fast to kill a story, it makes folks suspicious. Maybe it wasn't about protecting the man. Maybe it was about preserving the myth
of a marriage on the rocks. The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, you know, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack. At first, it seemed ridiculous, but the rumors have remained steady among New York.
The legacy, the symbol. Because let's face it, Obama wasn't just a president. He was a brand, the country's first black president, the symbol of hope and change. And if even a shred of Sinclair's tale holds weight, the ripple effect could shake that image down to its core. It raises the question, how did one of the most famous men on earth manage to sidestep scandal in an era where celebrities can't even sneeze without a headline? Maybe Sinclair's a fraud, or maybe he's a fire alarm that nobody wanted to hear. Either way, his reappearance taps into something deeper, the fear that what we're being shown isn't all there is. And just when it starts to die down, boom, another jolt. Meghan McCain, daughter of the late Senator John McCain, dropped a shocker live on air. She said she's heard rumors of an Obama divorce not from gossip sites, but from seasoned, serious journalists, the kind with connections, not clickbait. Then came more whispers. Right-wing influencers claiming that Jennifer Aniston has been seen at private Obama gatherings. And suddenly, this whole saga starts to feel less like tabloid fantasy and more like the kind of real story no one dares verify. And here's where it gets extra eerie. For every official denial, there's a fresh clue, a strange post, a skipped appearance, a weird vibe in a photo. It's a breadcrumb trail, and the public's following it closely. Because while Americans love a polished power couple, they're absolutely obsessed with a good fall from grace, especially when that couple sold us unity, dignity, and transparency. If there's even a sliver of betrayal in that image, it hits like a punch to the gut. But maybe this whole thing isn't really about who's still in love or who skipped which funeral. Maybe the real story's way bigger. Maybe it's about power, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't live in the White House anymore, but in the algorithms, the storylines, and the subtle shifts in how we think. Because let's be honest, Obama may have left office, but he never left the conversation. Not really. He just changed the channel. From policies to platforms, from speeches to scripts, from commanding votes to shaping vibes. And if his true legacy isn't just the presidency, but the long game he's playing after, then we've only started peeling back the first layer. So the real question isn't, are Barack and Michelle done? It's, how deep does this whole thing go? Are we just now catching on to a story that's been unfolding in plain sight? The silence after Joan Rivers' bold claims, the podcast leaks, the missing footage, the reappearing accusers, the skipped appearances, the strange alliances. Coincidence? Or are the signs just getting too loud to ignore? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is all smoke, or is there fire hiding underneath? Stay sharp, stay tuned, and never stop questioning the script.